The RS Feva is truly unique. There's no other youth/junior class in the world that takes kids from the age of 10 up to 13 or 14, gets them introduced to double-handed sailing, gets them communicating with a teammate, a partner, and then sets them up for the next stage, whether that's 29er or the 420. The Feva just sets them up as double-handed sailors.
What we see over the years is the children really have fun sailing the RS Feva.
My favourite thing about the RS Feva is it's a great boat for beginners to learn in, but it's also a really fun and quick boat to race in as well.
I sailed the RS Feva right at the beginning. So when it was launched in 2003, me and my sister were some of the first people to sail the Feva, and I actually competed in the first ever RS Feva Worlds on Lake Garda, and it's just fantastic to see where the class has come since then, really.
The RS Feva Class is currently strongest in Europe. This was its birthplace. The biggest concentration of Fevas in Europe is in Britain, where there's an enormous club circuit and racing circuit with full integration with the Royal Yachting Association for high performance development.
Most kids start in the age of 7, 8 or 9 in the opti dinghy. If they grow too fast or get tired of sitting alone, Feva is a very good alternative. And we also use the Feva if you get into sailing in the age of 11, 12 or 13, they can start directly into the Feva.
I started sailing in Optimist 5 years ago when I was 9, and well, I had a lot of friends, but I think RS Feva is more beautiful, more exciting than Optimist, and I like a lot.
I just love going on using the Jennifer because it allows you to go planing, and it's really, compared to the boats I've sailed before, it allows you to go really, really fast, so it's really awesome.
There is racing activity beginning to go on specifically in Canada on the eastern coast and in the San Diego area of the United States. There's quite a lot of movement going on in other parts of the United States. Long Island Sound is getting a good youth racing scheme together, and the other exciting development is Hawaii. So in the middle of the Pacific, a delivery of Fevas has recently taken place.
I'm often asked for how can we as a club approach the RS Feva? How can we incorporate it in our sailing? And one of the advices I give is try to look at it from a multifunctional way. So try to get to use these boats on the Friday for lessons and education, and let the same boats, maybe with a different sail, be used for competitional racing by another group on Saturday.
In Hong Kong, they have got their first national championships, which has already happened this year. It's establishing further in Asia now too, with the Japanese who've got a number of clubs where they are sailing the Fevas. China has had a launch of the Fevas already, and we're expecting big things from China. In the Antipodes, the development has been originally in New Zealand, and it's also been developing in Australia.
We really enjoy sailing the Feva because we get to know new friends and we can travel around the world, and also because it's a one-design boat, you have a chance to win.
The RS Feva has been particularly successful in developing female talent. The 2013 World Champion Hannah Bristow was a classic example of that. The Feva, being a good-looking boat, a fun boat to sail, has got a natural place in attracting female sailors at a young age who can then develop their talents as their confidence blossoms.
The Feva is fantastic because it's a very cheap class, it's a very simple boat, and it was also a great introduction to asymmetric sailing. And what's amazing is, although it's teaching the kids to race well and sail well, there's also just a real atmosphere of fun around, and I think you get that with the Feva more than you get with most junior and youth classes.
The Feva's great because kids simply are drawn to the boat, it's attractive, it's modern, it's fast, the kids enjoy sailing it, and it offers something for a very wide spectrum of sailors.
For the top level performers, we want to produce racing that is just the best training in the world. For them and everybody else, the ethos is for it to be a fun class to develop sailors who will want to sail for the rest of their lives. That is what we're about.